Nothing wrong with your radio.
Do not attempt to adjust the volume.
We are controlling the broadcast.
For the next hour we will control all that you hear.
You are about to experience the knowledge and insights of the media mothership.
Alright, well, we kind of got there in the end. Media Mothership here on Edge Radio 99.3 FM. As always, we're broadcasting out of Edge Radio Studios here in Nipaluna, Hobart, Tasmania, and exploring everything in and around the world of media and pop culture. We are a highly experimental program in a fantastically diverse station. So if you're looking to get trained up to do radio shows, do go on to the edgeradio.org.au website and check out details there if you want to get some training. Full disclosure, I'm also the training coordinator, so that's a bonus if you think this is great. What else? The show is being streamed on Edge Radio, as well as on Twitch and YouTube. You can find us by just searching Media Mothership, as well as on the DAB. And you can message us directly on 0488811707 here in the studio, or send us a chat on the YouTube or Twitch chat site. We had some crazy music. Most notoriously was Give Me Pizza, a notorious kind of mashup, slowed down remix of an Olsen's Twins pizza song, originally shown on some horror Disney program. Gained notoriety back in 2010. So, still 21st century. Then we had the Quero Quero Bonito song by Flamingo, and after that was Seagulls Stop It Now by Bad Lip Reading. So on today's show, we're going to explore and dive into some fascinating areas of media and popular culture, and hopefully some of it you'll find intriguing and unusual and entertaining. All right, we're back here on Edge Radio, Media Mothership. First fun little article that I only came across this morning reports from IGN that Guillermo del Toro is live tweeting his beef with a ghost in a haunted hotel in Scotland. This seems to have captured the interests of many Twitter followers, as the Oscar-winning filmmaker has been live tweeting from his experience in what's allegedly one of the most haunted rooms in an old hotel in Aberdeen, Scotland, where he's currently filming his new movie based on Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So Del Toro here is, filming on set, doing his work, and one of the locations, I guess, some of the production team are staying at is this hotel, and it's notorious for having this haunted room in particular. And from Tuesday this week, he tweeted that one of his producers had vacated the room that she'd been billeted to stay in over fear of an odd electrical physical occurrence. So then Del Toro decided he'd switch rooms, stay in, or at least, I don't know, switch, but go stay in her room or X room. And he tweets that, he was having high hopes that he'd have some sort of supernatural experience that he was posting in his Twitters. So it's fascinating reading his tweets that's compiled in this article. So his first tweet is, whilst in Aberdeen, I am staying in an old 1800s hotel. I am in the most haunted room of it, which was vacated this morning by one of our producers. Odd electrical and physical occurrences scared her into leaving ASAP. Stay tuned. If anything happens, I will report. So that got picked up by his followers, started becoming a really interesting thing to watch. He then followed up by saying, I always stay in the most haunted rooms, but only once did I experience anything supernatural. The rest of the time, nothing. I have high hopes. And that was on August 21st that he posted. Then the next day, he posted an update saying, I can only say nothing has happened yet. But the atmosphere in the room is oppressive, and I'm not going to spend much more time there. It may be suggestion, but at this point I kept it. But am sleeping in another room. I need 6 hours of sleep to have a good shooting day. I mean, so obviously he's trying to still do his film shoots, as well as this interest of experiencing the thing. And what's interesting is, of course, fans of Del Toro started to pick this up. Some of them replying to his original tweet saying, please get out of there. I'm scared for you. And I don't even know you, Guillermo, was one tweet. Another one was saying, this is stressing me out. One fan simply asked, are you being haunted, bro? So again, a bit of banter. It's been wonderful people that have picked this up. Some people retweeting it with comments like, honey, wake up. Guillermo del Toro is beefing with a ghost. Others retweeting, we're all yammering away about whatever we are. And all the while, Guillermo del Toro is trapped in a haunted hotel. People posting up the famous ops room from the assassination of bin Laden, with the comment, keeping tabs on the Guillermo del Toro hotel ghost situation. So it's definitely created a amusing interest as a director famous for doing gothic and horror films is tweeting his experience staying in a room which is meant to be haunted, and which one of the producers involved in the project also refused to stay in any longer. So quite intriguing. All right, the article of Polygon talking about how this headline might be the most defensive movie trailer of all time. This is Francis Ford Coppola's latest film, Megalopolis. And if you'd like to check it out, it's interesting because it basically sets up a typical kind of start, but then it goes into a list of it starts with, I guess, Lawrence Fishburne saying, true genius is often misunderstood. And then there's a montage of critical reactions to his previous films, like The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and so on, where critics have panned them, such as saying, hollow at the core and so forth. So again, a whole series of comments critiquing it, and Fishburne saying, one filmmaker has always been ahead of his time. So certainly building up that idea that, this film, while it might be lukewarm in its reactions, nevertheless, he's a misunderstood genius and will go on to great. It's fascinating, though, that that's the approach they've taken in the trailer, where they've posted bad reviews of Coppola's previous films, which are considered to be absolute high watermarks of cinema, setting up this idea that this is the next film, which will again be successful. What, however, has caused controversy is that this trailer, it turns out, has featured quotes of reviews which are either fabricated or misattributed. So all of these claimed movie critic comments with sources are wrong, are just made up or misattributed. And since then, Lionsgate had pulled the trailer from release. So there's been quite a bit of backlash from that interesting approach where they used fake or misattributed critical panning of his previous films to hype up the film, because the negative reviews were in fact fake. Bizarre. Maybe that's what I should do for Media Mothership in my next social promotion of it. Interesting. This is a funny piece. I'll need to quickly play a short example to set you in the mood for what this is. I'll just play a first few notes. Yeah, okay. I don't want to get the YouTube blocked. That, of course, is John Williams' famous Star Wars Imperial March theme. Ars Technica was reporting recently that a German warship floated down Thames River in London, England, while playing Darth Vader's theme, that is the Imperial March. So this very large German naval corvette, and there's a wonderful YouTube of it, is there sailing down, and the crew are there on attention, and they're playing through, I assume, the speaker system of the boat, the Imperial March from Star Wars. And of course, the Imperial March is used there as this is the music for the bad guys. This is the music for the bad guys, which are also a kind of metaphor, a motif of Nazism, right? This fascist imperial force with Darth Vader. And there's the Germans kind of owning it. The article is interesting because it goes on to talk about how, of course, Germany suffered under German attempted invasion, right, with the Battle of Britain, the Blitz during World War II, as well as various conflicts. So, UK and Germany were at war in the past. So it is spectacular. German naval spokesman assured the BBC, the article goes on to say, that the music had no deeper message and that it was not some sort of commentary from the German naval staff. Rather, the boat's commander can choose the music freely. So for whatever reason, the naval commander of this German naval corvette sailing down the Thames River in London, England, decided he'd play this Imperial March music from Star Wars that's associated with the bad guys that are kind of based on the Nazis. It is interesting because, of course, for two reasons, the article points out. One is that Germans are stereotyped for not having any humor. This suggests otherwise. It suggests a quite funny, maybe, trolling of the British. Secondly, the article points out that it's interesting to see this generation who grew up watching the original Star Wars trilogy are now, the article says, running the world in its weapon systems. So they're bringing their musical tastes with them, even if they come from a galaxy far, far away. So this might just be the fact that the captain of this boat is a huge Star Wars geek. Hilarious though. Right. So we might shift gears briefly. I want to dip back into an idea from last week's show that we never got around to doing, which were DVD commentary tracks. One of the appeals of still owning physical media, even though there's so much streaming that is dominant today, is that your physical media can still be useful because it contains commentary tracks, special features, and various other things, which often you won't be able to access in the streamed version of them, as well as the fact, of course, that the streaming network, your Netflix or whatever, won't have those titles probably forever. So they can disappear. So in this case, we're going to look at some DVD commentaries which are notorious for involving the meltdown of the person that was given the commentary. For those people that never listened to a commentary track, often involves the director or a cast member or someone involved in the production, or if it's a very old film, it'll involve a film critic or some huge fan providing discussions and unpacking the significance of various scenes. So we'll play a couple of them. This is from an article that Crack.com put together a while back, where they compiled what they felt were the 5 most hilariously awkward moments of the person doing the commentary melting down during it. So we'll listen to them. We might break it down a bit and consider how bad the meltdown was.
5. The most awkward
Commentary.
tracks ever.
Leanne.
You know her?
Yes. Yes. I know her well.
So just to pause there, this is from Cannibal the Musical, 1993. It's created by the talent that brought us South Park. And in the commentary that we're about to listen to, Trey Parker here, who's one of the creative talents, or one of the chief creative talents behind South Park, and was involved in the production of this film, Cannibal the Musical, talks about the inspiration for the movie.
I wondered if
I was engaged to this girl, Leanne, who we were sort of high school sweethearts, and about a month before the wedding, she decided to start sleeping with this guy in an a cappella group. And I really wrote this movie for her, just so that I could, ridicule her, basically.
You really miss Leanne, don't you? Don't worry, Mr. Packer. There's plenty of horses in the world. You'll find another one.
I kept thinking about Leanne with that dirty trapper.
Dirty fucking a cappella singer guy. And now she's with the manager of Foley's.
This is pretty sweet when we come in. Right here.
Hi, I'm worth $7 million, and she's with the manager of Foley's. Whoops!
You have been bad, Mr. Mackey, so you're going to have to drink from this glass.
So, fascinating there, a sudden meltdown where during his discussion of the Cannibal the Musical film, he suddenly starts talking about, where he got inspired from, and it was the fact that a girlfriend of his broke up from him and went on to marry this manager of Foley's. And so during the commentary track, he says that, and he in the film named the horse after his ex-girlfriend. There's a number of references to it. So it's a moment of quite a bizarre personal kind of moment. So let's keep listening now to number 2. So that was number 1, the moment in which Trey Parker talks about the inspiration for Cannibal the Musical being from his hatred of his ex-girlfriend.
It makes me hot and good.
Okay, so what we're going to listen to next is from the Twilight film. This is the 2008 vampire film, and here we're going to have the cast talk about this film.
Hey, one mushroom ravioli.
I didn't actually know they were rolling when we were doing this scene.
So this is Robert Pattinson talking about his experience of being in the film as the main character, the main vampire. And he starts off really strongly with the clip that they've selected here, where he says that he didn't actually know they were rolling when they were doing this scene. So as he's watching this performance that he's given, his only memory of it was he didn't know that they were filming it.
Someone was talking about garden burgers the other day. Haley from Paramore.
So
Garden burgers.
And what did she have to say about garden burgers?
I can't remember, but I'd never heard of them being called garden burgers before. Garden burger. It's literally I was saying to her, it's like something you found in the garden.
Kristen, look at this guy's feet and then have like really overwhelming flashbacks that like almost make your eyes like flutter. Okay. It was so terrible.
What did you do?
I fluttered my eyes and had an overwhelming flashback.
All right.
Say it.
Vampire.
What do we eat?
Cheeseburgers.
So, yeah, there's the team talking about making Twilight, and they're clearly completely disinterested. In fact, at one point, as we heard there, Pattinson's just talking about garden burgers in the stream of consciousness, irrelevant discussion, not even talking about the film anymore. So, yeah, seems like a pretty fruitless discussion, as well as Kristen Stewart, the actress that played the love interest, talking about how she asked the director for some direction on doing this flashback scene and fluttering her eyes. So next one is a classic. It's from the 1960s. It's from the Twilight Zone TV series, and somehow they got Mickey Rooney back to discuss this episode of The Twilight Zone, which he'd appeared in back in 1963. So this is quite... I mean, Mickey Rooney, at this point that he's doing the commentary, is a really old guy. And he's talking about this small piece he played in this TV show. I mean, Mickey Rooney, famous for various golden age of Hollywood movie roles in the 50s and 60s. And here he is talking about this episode in a commentary track for the Twilight Zone TV shows called, this episode title is The Last Night of a Jockey.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight.
Do you remember much about this episode?
No, I don't remember.
Oh, we're watching it together for the first time.
I don't care anything about it.
Shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
What was going on with you while you were making this episode?
I don't remember. It's too long ago.
What today's audience doesn't understand, and maybe we could put this in context, you're playing a jockey. For many years, anytime anybody said anything about a short, you were the butt of jokes.
Well, I'm tired of that.
Oh. The younger audience.
He's so pissed off in this commentary track, completely dissing the younger generation. In fact, let's listen to that again, because it is fascinating to hear. So obviously, Mickey Rooney's sitting in there with a type of film historian, and managed to get him in. So here we go. Let's listen to it again.
A dimension of sight.
Do you remember much about this episode?
No, I don't remember.
Oh, we're watching it together for the first time.
I don't care anything.
So Rooney there's saying, he gets asked by the person, do you remember anything about this episode? He goes, no, I don't remember anything. And then the person, the film critic says, great, we're watching it for the first time together. And Rooney's reply is, I don't care anything about it.
Shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
What was going on with you while you were making this episode?
I don't remember. It's too long ago.
What today's audience doesn't understand, and maybe we could put this in context, you're playing a jockey. For many years, anytime anybody said anything about a short, you were the butt of jokes.
Well, I'm tired of that.
Oh.
He is so
the younger audience, because they don't understand.
The younger audience doesn't want to see
that's
this.
That's who's watching this.
No, it isn't.
Yes,
they're watching sexy things.
The kids.
They're watching sexy things. We've had some comments on the chat, which is fantastic. Thank you, Glob Gods and Jerome Got Milk. Let's hear what the commentary track for the next piece is. So let's set this up. This is from the 1997 film. Was it Batman and Robin? Let's have a look. So this is the 1997 film Batman and Robin.
Akiva Goldsman was blamed a lot for the sort of lightness and humor and fun and games of Batman and Robin, but that's not fair.
So, the start of that commentary is interesting because it's kind of providing some information and context about the backlash this film received, because Batman and Robin received a huge amount of backlash, a huge amount of the sense that it was too juvenile. It had a lot of poor design choices. It kind of focused on the fact that the batsuits had nipples, that there was this kind of complete shift from the Tim Burton films, Batman and was it Batman Returns? And this film was savaged. So we're saying that then the cranked article goes to turn on that we seem to have some acceptance of this critical backlash.
This scene will not win the award for underacting, but hey, it's a comic book.
With venom.
If you love a movie, there are hundreds of people that made it lovable for you. If you don't like it, blame the director. That's what our name's there for.
I hate when people talk during the movie.
I take full responsibility. I mean, Akiva did write the script, but I shot it.
Let's kick some ice.
So it's fascinating to hear there the kind of sense of, a director during the commentary track, and there's some kind of edited clips from the whole film that they've compiled together there, and you're hearing the director kind of go through those stages of grief, at first kind of rejecting that criticism, then coming to some acceptance, and then apologizing for the film. That film, I think, also involves another really interesting commentary piece that is discussed, Joel Schumacher discusses, which is the pressure he was under to make the film. He refers to it as toyetic, which was a term, I think, that McDonald's and other sponsors were applying to the film to make sure that there were design elements in its in its design of the cars and the weapons and so forth, which could be turned into toys, which many people pointed to was another problem with the film, that it was potentially there to not only, that the storytelling was somehow sabotaged by trying to make too many toys out of it. All right, the next one we're going to listen to is from 1990, cult classic Total Recall, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course. So let's hear how Arnold melted down, maybe, or at least how the critique of this shows it as a less than ideal commentary.
Here, this is my job. I'm a construction worker. And I'm totally amazed.
And he's looking at something.
I'm looking
Is
at the
this
gun.
me?
Exactly. How did I do that?
So what's hilarious about Arnold Schwarzenegger's commentary is he's commenting them as if he's only watching them, in terms of he's just describing what he's seeing on the screen. He's like, how did he do that? I'm looking at my gun. Like, what am I doing? So he's not actually providing any information in terms of what the behind-the-scenes secrets were, or what an interesting or unusual approach that this required, or how many takes, or anything else that informs our understanding of it. It's simply describing the scene.
I continuously used him as a human shield, and then I threw him down the escalator. This scene is unbelievable because my frustration about this taxi cab does not understand where I want to go. Here's the great fight scene with Sharon and me. Ow, that hurt.
So, I mean, it's great because, you know, he does present himself as loving his films, right? He's certainly describing and commentating on these films in a way where his enjoyment of them is quite clear, which is wonderful. But he is describing them. The article characterizes it as you know, like an 8-year-old's description in terms of he's just describing the cool things about the film. Or he gets hit in the nuts by Sharon Stone and he's like, oh, that hurt. All right, so let's listen to his commentary track on another great film, which is Conan the Barbarian from 1982.
Yeah, here's the making of the sword. This whole movie has to do with that. The sword, steel. The building of the sword, building the steel, and the character being like steel.
But Crumb is your god.
That's me when I was young.
Yeah.
Does the kid wear lipstick, or what is that? Or is
No,
this
that's just a kid.
That's funny.
Welcome to our DVD of Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines. This scene with the...
So he's describing the setup of the scene where the female Terminator in Terminator 3 enlarges her breasts to distract the police officer that's come over.
enlargement of the breasts was fantastic. Because there's some guys that like little breasts and there's some guys that like big breasts. So wouldn't it be nice if you can play both sides, you know, sometimes even simultaneously.
Bizarre. So that is, I mean, the Arnold Schwarzenegger commentaries. I mean, I reckon it's worth getting some of these Blu-rays, even for less than ideal films. The Twilight film in particular sounds like it could be quite a bizarre experience to watch for Robert Pattinson just kind of melting down about how he didn't know in certain scenes that it was filming. Be intriguing to see. Well, that's been Media Mothership for another week. Thanks for listening. Next week, Media Mothership is going on location. We're traveling to the United States of America to go to one of America's biggest conventions, Dragon Con 2024. So we'll be over there collecting some new data and some new insights into the media and popular culture world. So we'll have no episode next week, but stay tuned after that for some fantastic news stories out of Dragon Con that we'll be reporting out of there. So that will be an exciting adventure for Media Mothership. Keep listening now to Edge Radio. K-Pop Unlimited is having a break today, so it will just be some non-K-pop related tunes, and keep listening to Edge Radio. After them will be Adrian.